Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back once again with another 24/7 news video. We start this news video as always with our headline news, and our headline news is that Nuno Espirito Santo is waiting and wanting to be the next Everton manager. A verbal agreement was reached with Nuno and the deal was close, but Everton weren't 100% and asked for more time to think about it. An agreement is already done for Nuno to be the next manager. That has come via Fabrizio Romano on the Don Robbie podcast. We did run a poll on the Toffee Blues, which you can go follow down below, links in the description as always, and get involved and vote on the poll for your voice to be heard. We regularly read them out here. And it was, would you prefer Nuno Espirito Santo or Rafael Benitez? 3,325 of you voted. The poll is still open for another 18 hours, so go and vote if you want your voice heard. 82% of you voted Nuno and 18% voted for Rafa. I don't think this is a massive shock. I'm very open about the fact that I don't want Rafa Benitez, not just the Liverpool links, not just a small club comment. But it's not 2005. You know, people say he won the Champions League, that's brilliant, but that was, nearly 20 years ago. His last achievement was a championship in 2017. Before then, it was 2014. He went to Dahlia Pro and hasn't done well. And I saw someone say it the other day, like, if Liverpool fans are clapping and applauding Rafa for getting the job but aren't worried, then that's sort of the problem. They're applauding him because they're going, oh, he's got the job, but, he deserves a good job. They're not, but what we want is for them to go, oh, you know what, I don't like that they've got a good manager. That's what we really want. We want a manager who's going to strike fear into the six we want to break into. And for me, Rafa's not that. So I'm not excited about it, and I know a lot of fans aren't. I've seen the stuff outside Goodison today, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm not surprised that Nuno has got your votes, to be completely honest. We move on to our next bit of news though, and that is that Everton are set to hold more talks with Rafa Benitez today about potentially appointing him as Everton manager. Rafa Benitez is expected to be offered the role. Everton expect to appoint a manager by early next week. That's come via the Liverpool Echo. Obviously this broke, but since then we've had, the banners outside Goodison. I'm hoping Farhad Mashiri pulls a plug on this pretty quickly. It's embarrassing in my eyes that, I think we're being laughed at by quite a couple of other fans. I saw Sunderland fans were now ripping us. It's embarrassing. I just wanted higher hopes. This obviously, my opinion, a couple of people are actually Benitez in and they'll be saying, it's one stuff, yada yada. Apparently when this first happened, 40 applicants applied for the Everton job, and we're looking at Rafa Benitez. Come on, it screams more safe hands than ambition from the club, and it's quite disappointing in my opinion. I don't want Rafa Benitez, and a lot of the fan base don't, and that lies the problem. I did a live stream on the Toffee Blues, and I said this: if you've got a man who's already split the fan base like this, and it's going to be this hostile already, imagine, worst comes to worst, Danny Ings slots one in, Southampton win 1-0 at Goodison. You can already imagine the atmosphere. You've just got to think a bit ahead. Forward thinking here is what needs to prevail. We also have the news that Everton are still in talks with a number of managers regarding the vacant role. Of the 8 being considered, the names such as Rafa Benitez, Nuno Espirito Santo, Christopher Gaultier, Duncan Ferguson and Eddie Howe. I think I'm with the majority who want Gaultier. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's a bit worrying that the longer we leave it, the less likely that looks. Eddie Howe's a no-go for me. Duncan Ferguson, I don't know. That one splits the fan base for me. I'd like him to have a little bit more managerial experience. And then you got Rafa and Nuno, and out the two of them, I'd rather Nuno, to be completely honest with you, than Rafa. So if not Gaultier, the next one on that list probably is Nuno. And I wasn't thrilled at Nuno, but you've got to take you've got to take it. At least it's not Rafa, is what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, we also have the news that Carlo Ancelotti wants to sign Allen for Real Madrid, and the midfielder would be apparently cost 20 million. This has come from Defensa Central. Ancelotti can get on his bike, can't he? Get on your bike, as if he's not caused enough damage in the last 3 weeks. He now looks to take one of my favourite recent Everton players. He's a really good midfielder. I don't think we've seen the best of Allen, and 20 million is quite cheap. I think, although he is getting on a bit. But he's a really good midfielder, and I don't think we've seen the best of him, and I will be quite sad if he goes. But I don't expect this to be the last Everton player that Carlo Ancelotti comes to try and cherry pick from us. We also have the news that Fahad Mejri is driving the appointment of Benitez. After a further meeting is scheduled with Benitez, where he's expected to go through the finer details of his contract, which is already agreed in principle. That's come by the Mirror. I mean, Fahad Mejri, I think, is incredibly out of touch here. Either out of touch or does not care. If he still sees the fan reaction and still goes ahead with it, it's all on his head if this goes horribly wrong, which I think it will. All on his head. He's gone for Hollywood after Hollywood, and it's gone unsuccessful. This is entirely on his head now. I just hope the contract's not a big Brucey one where if we do sack him, it's a big payout, because I think that's how it'll end, us sacking him. But then saying that if it's a year contract, it's clearly just a safe gap, and if you're going for a safe gap type of manager, you could pick a number of managers that probably would be wider accepted than Rafa Benitez for a safety, 12 months safety type thing. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Farhad's running this, and he does pay the wages, so he does run the show. I just hope somebody, Marcel Brands, Bill Kenwright, somebody gives his head a bit of a wobble and says, it's not going to go down well. We saw Richard Keys, Andy Gray. I mean, Richard Keys, take it with a pinch of salt, because it must be bad if I'm agreeing with Richard Keys over something he says about Everton, because the fella normally chats absolute. But him and Andy Gray were so against it. Neville Southall said it won't be accepted and it's a silly thing to do. A lot of people are saying it's just absolutely bizarre. But then he's also got a lot of friends in the media saying that this is a great appointment. So, I mean, I know what the majority of Everton fans think, and it's not positive. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully somebody talks him round. Speaking of Marcel Brands, there is opposition from the club to appoint Benitez, from Marcel Brands, who has a concern about Benitez's previous run-ins with directors of football. This has also come by the Mirror. And again, this also shows a problem. Marcel Brands is our director of football. I think he should be in charge with picking the manager, but he was ignored. If he goes ahead and appoints Benitez, knowing he doesn't get on with directors of football, it begs the question, what is Marcel Brands the director of football for? He's obviously more than that to the club. He's in zone with the new stadium plans. He's on the board. I think he's a lot more valuable than just a director of football to Everton. And clearly Farhad Mejri sees him as that. Which, if that was the case, just take the director of football title out of him. He would still be employed by the club for his numerous roles. But he's obviously not a director of football if Farhad Mejri's going way over his head. In my opinion anyway, there's no point having one if you're just going to do that, because essentially what you've got is an advisor that you're not listening to, and if you're not going to listen to your advisor, there's no point in having them. But that's just my opinion. You guys might disagree, and if you do, you'll let me know down below, as always. We do also have some transfer news. Before we get onto that though, I will make a comment about Gaultier. This has come from Jeremy Smith, saying Equipe are also reporting that Nice have made first contact with Lille in order to get Gaultier as their new coach. Personal terms have long been agreed, but Lille want 10 mil in compensation. So it looks like we probably will miss out on that. He was rumoured to be wanting to honour his Nice agreement anyway, and they're willing to pay the 10 million. Literally, that means that the only thing stopping that is if Nice pay the 10 million to Lille, which I think they will do. And I think by the time our board even get a whiff that they need to make a decision on Gaultier, they'll probably call him up after all this Benitez, and he'll be like, I've gone. I think we've waited too long on Gaultier, so unfortunately I don't see that happening. And it is a massive blow. He's done absolute wonders with Lille, and I think he's exactly what Everton need. But you move on, I guess. We also have some transfer news now, and it is that Rafa Benitez, Football Insider are claiming this, but Rafa Benitez has said that he wants to include, he has spoken to and wants to include Connor Cody as a potential summer target, and that Benitez has given this a thumbs up. I mean, if you're going to accept one person who's got strong links with Liverpool and a bit of a Liverpool fan, yeah, you might as well open the gates and bring Connor Cody as well, who's a well-known Liverpool fan as well. Personally, I don't see the point in this. Alan Hutton also said to Benitez to look somewhere else because he told Football Insider Everton have enough good options at the back. I think a midfield creator is somewhere they might want to bolster. And a little bit more he said about Connor Cody. I agree with him though. I don't think the back Centre-backs, I don't think, is where we need to improve. I think we need a right-back, hence why we're looking at Dumfries. I think we've got enough options. Michael Keane, Yerry Mina, Ben Godfrey, Mason Holgate. There's 4. I mean, if you really were tied, Gerard Branthwaite, I guess, could come back from loan, but that would only be an injury or suspensions, and that would have to be quite a lot. Especially if he's going to play a 2 and not a free centre back formation. You just don't need that many centre backs. And Connor Cody will not go. My biggest criticism of Connor Cody is, with him being a Liverpool fan, is that this will already split the fan base. Don't start throwing petrol on the fire, because both will go down awfully with fans. And like I've seen a couple of people say, fans, if fans don't always get the opinion or whatever, or since when did fans pick the manager? But you do have to. I think always when you run a business or a football club, you have to take into account your employer, but also your audience. So even if it wasn't a football club and it was, I don't know, Coca-Cola, they have to take into account their audience, or a makeup brand, they would have to take into account their audience in anything they do, any promotion, any high profile people they deal with. They tend to stay away from people who might have previous bad connotations that might upset their demographic audience, because that's how you run a business. And Everton, as a football club, you should try even more to appease your demographic and your fans. And Everton, on a business point and on a football club, I don't think this appointment appeases their demographic, their fans, who are the ones who will pay to go to Goodison Park, will pay for their merchandise, the tops and that. So it does blow my mind a little bit. But I don't want to stay negative. It's not healthy. And it's not nice. Hopefully this disappears. We sign someone, whether it's Nuno. Now that we've been linked with Benitez, I'd happily take Nuno. It's put stuff in perspective. Hopefully it's Nuno, hopefully it's Gaultier, hopefully it's somebody we can all get behind, and hopefully we have a really good season. If not, it's Benitez. I don't think it'll go well, but I mean, as Bill Kenwright once said, it's horrible, but that's Everton. But anyway, guys, that's all we've got time for today. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, your family, subscribe, comment down below on anything I've discussed. Do you like Connor Cody? Do you think it'll work? Do you want Benitez, yes or no? Are you upset about the Gaultier news? What do you think about the Marcel Brands news? Anything I've discussed. Would you take Nuno now, in perspective, in hindsight? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to follow me, myself, and the Toffee Blues on Twitter. The links will be in the description down as always. And most importantly, guys, stay safe. Enjoy the Euros, the football. Enjoy the nice weather, although it's a little bit bleak today. And just have a lovely summer before the season starts again.